Susan B. Anthony, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, Sojourner Truth. These were the women who led the fight for women's rights that eventually led to the ratification of the 19th Amendment, giving women the right to vote. Now, 100 years later, we can look at women moving up into positions of power higher than ever before. Shippensburg University is creating an environment that is helping to shape female leaders while supporting women in positions of power on and off campus.
We interviewed several female leaders in and around Shippensburg University to learn what it's like to be a female leader. We talked about what they are doing in their current positions that helps to improve not only student success, but is also preparing female students for their future endeavors.
Ariel Catron is the Shippensburg University Women's Center Director. Ariel is a social worker who has dedicated her life to empowering and helping women. The Women's Center strives for equality and empowerment for all students on campus, and we asked her how the center brings about this environment to campus.
Well, we like to first try to start with educating the community about what is power-based violence, what is sexual assault, what is consent. We are here absolutely to help women on campus, but we're here for everybody because we understand that it's not just women that are affected by these issues. And, there's a lot of pressure on things like toxic masculinity that can lead to violence and things like that. So we try to really expand beyond, we're called the Women's Center because it's sort of an outdated name, but we try to expand upon that, think about gender justice as a whole. Like, what are our gender expectations of each other, and how can we fight back against the things that we're supposed to do, and then do the things that are right and uplifting to everybody and making healthy choices. So we try to start with that education.
The Women's Center is a driving force in pushing women to challenge themselves in the workplace. Many times, women feel they have overstepped in these situations and that they don't deserve what they ask for.
There's a phenomenon called imposter syndrome, and everybody has it now and then, but I think for women, it can be really difficult to feel like, do I really deserve to be here? Do I belong here? Have I earned this? And my advice to every woman is, you belong to be there. You deserve to be there more than anyone else. You have earned everything you've gotten. Ask for more money, negotiate. If you get a job offer, the worst they can say is no to more money. That's fine, but you have to ask, you have to push for yourself, you have to advocate for yourself. Women belong in every place where decisions are being made.
Victoria Kerr is the director of the Career, Mentoring, and Professional Development Center on campus. The Career Center supports all SHIP students by helping them find careers they are passionate about. Victoria discusses some of the programs the center provides in order to educate students and give them the tools needed for the professional world.
Number one is we meet students where they're at. So again, regardless of race, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, our whole focus is how do we meet students where they're at. It's really important to me that you have collaborations across campus in multiple different ways. Because I also think when you think about diversity and inclusion, and you think about being an advocate, you want people to be able to be aware of the issues and the stigma surrounding it so then they can champion on behalf of you.
Victoria also talked about some of the ways in which leaders can improve the environment of their workplace, which in turn leads to success.
Number one is that you have to address specifically leadership challenges and needed competencies in the workforce. So if it's women, what are they? How do you address them? What are the experiences they need? What are the resources they need? And I would extend that, again, back to that idea. It can't just be women. It has to be race, ethnicity, religious, sexual orientation. What are the needs and challenges that they're facing? Because you need to confront them front on and work with that. Come up with a plan to address that. Number two is leverage that power. So work with them in tandem. Don't make decisions for the heck of making decisions. And then rethink those systems and challenge the assumptions. So the hardest thing specifically, if we're going to pick on the idea of just women, but again, in the workforce, how can you stand up? Small things that you can do to stand up.
In addition to faculty and staff, we talked to Shippensburg alumna Mariah Hathaway. She is a 2018 political science graduate who is currently the executive director of the Women's Commission in Pennsylvania government.
So as the executive director, I run all of our commission meetings and, make sure that our work is aligning with the governor's agenda. So we kind of work with what the governor's initiatives are and push them forward, while also recognizing the needs of women and girls throughout the state. So we'll be doing like Breast Cancer Awareness Month is in October, so we're going to be doing a celebration of life for them, and doing domestic violence work, because October is also Domestic Violence Awareness Month. The main goal of the commission is to make sure that women and girls have an advocate at the state level and in the governor's office.
Prior to this, she was in constituent services before being promoted to executive assistant to regional directors, and then became the special assistant to the Office of Intergovernmental Affairs. Mariah plans to continue to work for the community.
So, within the next 2 years, I just hope to have, engaged with as many citizens as possible, as many constituents as possible, just make sure that everyone knows what the Women's Commission is, because, it's, in order to be an advocate, you have to let people know that you're here and you want to work for them. And essentially that's what got me involved in government in the first place, is to help people and to make sure that they know they have a voice. So.
Here too, ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to present President Dr. Lori A. Carter.
On April 20th, 2018, Dr. Lori A. Carter made history and became the first female president of Shippensburg University. Dr. Carter had much experience in leadership positions, as she was the executive vice president and university counsel for Eastern Kentucky University. She had also been vice president for arts education at the New Jersey Performing Arts Center and had held various positions for 25 years at Juilliard. The interview process for the position of president took several months, with several open forums and meetings.
As with any university president, Dr. Carter has faced difficulties while in office. As she is the first female president, she is facing the standard difficulties of taking over what has traditionally been a male position.
I think as a woman, many of those issues are the same. But there are some nuances that come into play. As the first woman of president of a university, for me, it's interesting because, I have this sort of personal mantra of being comfortable with discomfort. But I don't know that I'd ever experienced so much discomfort from others about me. So, there are folks who I think are accustomed to going out for a beer with the male president or doing things like that. And when you're a woman, it's like, oh, can I ask that person to have a beer? Or does that person even drink beer?
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
So it's things like that it's this kind of weirdness that's around the fact that you have this different gender they've never encountered at that level.
Although the job is not always easy, President Carter does her work for the students, devoting much time to first-gen students, the Student Success Center, and the first-year experience. We asked President Carter how it feels to be the first female president of Shippensburg.
I feel good about it. There's a certain level of responsibility that comes with that. Demonstrating that a woman really can lead an institution and lead it well. And I was really struck by how many women alumna would approach me, and some even in tears, just so overwhelmed by the fact that a woman was finally leading the university after all of these years. So I feel the sense of responsibility to honor the privilege that I've been given.
President Carter hopes to increase retention, persistence, and graduation rates on campus and ensure students can be successful after graduation.
And and then I came back to campus for the public announcement. So it was this big secret of who was selected. And then I came back, and everyone was sitting in the chapel waiting to see the new president. And it was a pretty amazing moment.
In the last 5 years, we have seen many women move up into positions of leadership and power. The following women have made giant leaps in various institutions, including business, athletics, and government.
In June 2017, Katie Sowers became a seasonal offensive assistant for the San Francisco 49ers of the National Football League until 2019, when she was promoted to offensive assistant coach. She became the first female and openly gay coach to be part of a Super Bowl, following the 49ers' performance in Super Bowl 54.
In November 2020, Kim Eng became the first female general manager for the Miami Marlins. She is also the first female general manager of a men's team and the first Asian American general manager in Major League Baseball history.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg became the second female Supreme Court justice when she was appointed by President Bill Clinton. During her legal career, she was an advocate for gender equality and women's rights. She served on the Supreme Court from 1993 until her death in September 2020.
In November 2020, Kamala Harris became the first female vice president-elect in American history. She is the first African American and first Asian American to be elected to one of the highest-ranking official positions in U.S. history.
As it is demonstrated through the careers of these remarkable women throughout the United States, Shippensburg University contributes to the ultimate goal of cultivating strong women that for so long have lived in a world controlled and driven by men. Michelle Buck, a SHIP alumna, became the first female president, CEO, and chairperson of the Hershey Company in March 2017.
Riding on the shoulders of women from the past, these women have accomplished much in their careers. Now we look to the future as the next generation continues to open doors for the women of tomorrow. And while the future awaits, the women in this documentary provide their perspective on what makes a successful female leader.
Vulnerability, care, empathy, decision-making, emotional intelligence.
Being a champion, always learning, meet people where they're at, having uncomfortable conversations helps you grow.
Being a great listener, talk with everybody in the room before they make a decision, advancing other people's needs first before yours.
It's not about being a man or a woman. It's about being yourself. If you want it, go for it. Prepare yourself well. You can accomplish anything you set out to accomplish, and you really can have it all.